Hello, welcome. This is a special edition of The Big Fight because Karnataka has just gone to the polls. People are calling this the semi-final before 2019, and that's obviously not the right way to refer to it because potentially there's Rajasthan and there's Madhya Pradesh, so this could be a quarter-final or a eliminator or a qualifier if you want to use IPL language. Either way, it's a really important election. Now, many people said that come 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, we'll know exactly what's happened in Karnataka because all the exit polls were out. If anything, the exit polls have completely and totally confused everyone because they all seem to be pointing in different directions. I have rarely seen such a mess of exit polls, all of which are saying radically different things. Congress anywhere between 72 to 113 seat, the JDS anywhere between 18 and 43, BJP similarly. So it's a bit of a confused muddled picture, which I am going to take you through in some detail. Also, a panel, very special guest going to be joining us to take us through all implications of this. But first, let's just stick with the numbers. So if you take a look as a poll of all exit polls, everything that we've got so far, it says the BJP is winning 98 seats. Congress is going to be behind, JDS 31, others 4. So, but that actually hides a fair amount. 98, 89, 31, 4. Sounds like a hung assembly and somebody having to talk to the JDS for support. But, and there's a very important but here, actually, the individual exit polls are all showing very, very different pictures. So in this particular case, the poll of exit polls is not terribly relevant. What is perhaps more relevant is this. This really shows you that there are some exit polls that are showing the Congress winning, 3 of them actually. 5 exit polls are saying that the BJP is winning. So numerically, more of them are saying that the BJP is winning. And if you take just these exit polls, the 3 that are saying the Congress are winning, if you take their average, they say the Congress gets to about 102 seats. That's roughly 9 or 10 short of the majority mark. And the 5 which are saying that the BJP is winning also says that the BJP is slightly short. But in both cases, within striking distance, perhaps depending on how many the independents and others are, may possibly require JDS support or a minority government. So that's really what the picture is. If I could just spend some more time going through channel by channel, because then I guess everyone can make up their own mind as to which of these exit polls they actually find is more credible. This is really the way it all ties up. ABP is showing the BJP ahead. News Nation says again that the BJP is ahead. Republic TV, Jan Ki Baat has the BJP at about 95 to 114, so at the higher end of that scale, it's a fairly comfortable victory for the BJP, actually past the halfway mark. Others that are saying that the BJP is winning is Digvijay News. Now, those that are saying that the Congress is winning includes the Aaj Tak Access exit poll, which actually has in one scenario the higher end, the Congress with a comfortable majority, but even otherwise at 106, the Congress just a little short. Times Now, VMR exit poll, it's hung, but the Congress are the single largest party at about 97. So a wide range of exit polls. So pretty much, I guess, the message tomorrow that everyone is going to draw is going to be to scratch their heads and saying, well, I think we should just wait for the 15th. Probably a good idea, wait for the 15th. The most accurate exit poll that I have seen by anybody right now, which I saw on Twitter, was to say that the BJP plus the Congress plus the JDS plus others plus independents will be 222. Now that, I can say, is almost certainly going to be correct. Well, it's great to have we're having a great panel coming in to join us. Sagarika is still with us as the Ejaz of the BJP. It's a pleasure to have Professor Neera Chandok with us, Professor of Political Science at DU. Mohandas Pai joining us. Great to have you with us, Mohandas Pai. Raghu Kannad, journalist and writer with us as well. Professor Tirochan Shastri joining us in just a couple of minutes, as is Rajiv Gowda, Rajya Sabha MP and spokesperson of the Congress party. In fact, Rajiv is there. Rajiv, why don't I just start off by asking you your take on those exit polls? I'm going to throw exactly that same question then to Ejaz. What do you make of it? It's a bit of a confusing picture, obviously. Okay, Rajiv, I'm not sure you can actually hear me. Ejaz, your take on it?
Well, obviously, if it's multiple divergence in the polls, like 5 are giving the BJP close to majority and 3 are giving the Congress, it's evident that one can't rely on such information in such exit polls. The divergence is too much and there are no clear indication. The only clear indicators from this is the JDS is likely to get between 25 to 35 seats, and they, if you believe these exit polls, then they have a very important role in the formation of the next government. That is the only thing.
Depending on where the rest of it adds up. So actually, all scenarios are open, other than the JDS forming the government of its own. If the exit polls are to be believed, that's the only thing that seems to be ruled out, that the JDS is the single largest party. Rajiv Gaura, your take on the exit polls that we've seen?
I would rather not focus on the seat shares that have been projected in the exit polls. When I looked at some of the vote shares, there was significant, gap between the Congress and the BJP, with a Congress lead of about 4-5 in some of the exit polls percentage, and that would suggest that Congress would cross the mark, the majority mark on its own. And so basically, I would actually just say that this is all going to be speculation. Everything that we're going to talk about now is hypothetical, and we can do scenario building in the air. But the basic assessment that we have done, seat by seat, being very generous to other parties, we will still cross the majority line. In fact, our leaders expect much more than that. I'm just being a little more.
Some of your leaders
here.
today,
and across the state, there is no anti-incumbency. No.
Right, Rajiv. So, I mean, I guess, you said that the vote share, some of the exit polls are showing a vote share where the Congress is well ahead. Others will be showing that the BJP is well ahead. Professor Chandok, let me just get you in on this. Can you make any sense of these exit polls, or should we just wait for the 15th?
Well, the prediction was generally that no party would would win enough decisive votes to make a government, and these exit polls seem to be adhering to the received wisdom, which is a pity, because 118 is about the highest that they have predicted for the Congress, one of the exit polls. There's no number higher than 118.
And one of them says 113 for the BJP, but yes. Other than that, it's...
Well, 1 and 5, it's not really conducive to a very stable kind of government, and we just don't know as of now what's going to happen.
But frankly, exit polls quite often are underestimating the extent of the eventual victory. So
I think it will be probably more decisive.
I think the mandate is going to be much more decisive.
Which way?
Either way than this so-called fractured, very percentage-wise analysis that we do. But I think, in fact, the people out there are going to give a more decisive mandate.
Okay, let me go to Mohandas Pai and Raghu Karnad. It's your state, it's your city. Mohandas Pai, perhaps you can help us understand all of this. What's your sense? Is it more decisive than this is showing, and if so, in which direction?
We just got the latest data about voting percentage, and it says, I think, 73%. That's what I read on Twitter. Now, 73% is a fairly high percentage for Karnataka. Last time, I think it was about 71%. Now, we don't know what that extra 5%, which is mostly younger people, are coming and voting and doing. So I would say it is still wide open. It will all depend upon the swing that Modi has probably made in the coastal areas and in Hyderabad, Karnataka and Bombay, Karnataka region, where there's been a tremendous approach to him. Siddaramaiah has run the state very well. He's been a good chief minister, barring 2 events where he came out badly. But I think, he's been a good chief minister. The Congress has allowed a local face to be the leader, which is very, very good, because all along they used to interfere and that caused concern. But I would say that it is wide open, and we need to discuss the implication of the 73% voting rate, which is very high for Karnataka.
Right. Let me just, Mohandas Pai, I'm not going to interrupt you for a minute. Ramesh Babu is joining us from the Janata Dal, from the JDS. You're seeing the exit polls. It seems that it could end up being the JDS, which may be the kingmaker one way or the other. You're not certainly seem to be crossing 30 or 40 seats, but you could be instrumental in helping somebody else form the government. Have you given any thoughts at all to whom you might want to support?
You see, the exit poll, what it is showing the results now, it is totally wrong. The majority of exit poll survey in respect of regional parties always failed. We are hoping that this time the Karnataka people upheld the regional issues, and they are voted in favor of JDS as well as Kumaraswamy. So you wait till 15th, definitely we are going to give the good result. JDS is getting upper hand, no doubt in that. Even, for example, Bihar as well as Delhi, the surveys of national media is failed to prove that the national parties are going to take upper hand, even in Tamil Nadu. So we are having hope that the JDS is taking upper hand in this election.
All right, so we'll see whether that hope is actually, none of these exit polls are actually pointing to that. And they're pointing to every possible scenario. Not a single one is saying that the JDS is winning. So you don't have any, or you're not willing to say about any possible preference between the BJP and the Congress?
You see, it is not hope. It is the fact. It is the reality. You wait another 2 days. The result will be different. JDS will be the king, not kingmaker. Just you wait for another 2 days. Definitely, we are going to form our own government.
Okay, JDS is going to be the king and not the kingmaker. You know, shall I tell you one possible scenario? Given that the exit polls are so confused, who knows whether that scenario comes up. Let's say it is actually completely hung, 80 or 90, 85 seats for both the Congress and the BJP. JDS ends up with 35, 40 and says, and Congress or you think about how about supporting JDS from outside?
Yeah, so what Mr. Ramesh Babu is obviously not saying is understandable, but what he's also clearly saying is that they won't be the kingmaker, but they will be the king. So they're saying that we're going to be the chief minister. It's very, very evident from the messaging that Mr. Ramesh Babu is giving.
So do you think the BJP would be open to that?
It all depends on the numbers. If the BJP gets the numbers, otherwise, then we don't have to make Deva Gowda the Kumaraswamy the king.
Obviously, but let's say you're at 80, the Congress is at 95, and you say, okay, let's make the JDS to keep the Congress out.
Well, not to keep the Congress out, but to form a government with the JDS and give a stable government of them representing the old Mysore area and BJP largely representing the central and the northern parts of Karnataka. Okay,
so you're not ruling out that possibility. Rajiv Gowda, is that at all a possibility? When he says he wants to be the king and not the kingmaker, the Congress party, if you don't have the numbers to form a government of your own, to say, okay, fine, we'll support a JDS government in some form or the other? I mean, crazier things than that have happened in politics. I mean, notably, Deva Gowda himself became prime minister in a somewhat similar situation, you know, what is it, many years ago, a couple of decades back.
Not for very long, yeah.
Rajiv? Rajiv Gowda, I was asking you, is that at all a possibility?
Okay, see, there are lots of permutations and combinations that are entirely possible. What shall we say, non-BJP parties coming together, based on some larger common understanding of how to protect constitutional values, etc. These are all platforms that can bring parties together. So you can't rule anything out. On the other hand, what I am arguing is that we should only discuss these issues after the actual numbers come out, because our assessment, both on the basis of our performance and track record, the people's lack of anti-incumbency and their embrace of our welfare programs and the economic growth of the state, etc., I don't anticipate the kinds of numbers that your exit polls are showing. Okay. I actually anticipate a clear majority for the Congress. So we'll have to wait.
Okay.
You know, when the Prime Minister first arrived, he heaped praise on Deva Gowda as a strong leader, as a senior leader, as, you know, leader whom he trusts. And the next day did a complete U-turn and said, no, we have nothing to do with the JDS, they're a completely separate party. So it was almost as if he went in there thinking that there was this understanding with the JDS, but then obviously was advised that, listen, don't broadcast it because the vote bank being of, you know, minorities and Vocaligas might go against the BJP and the JDS. So, you know, it seemed as if there was this U-turn.
No, I'm making a different point. You know, I think it's a very unhealthy trend in Indian politics. If the socialists and my friends in these various socialist fragments want to rehabilitate themselves before the 2019 elections, they must make their stand clear. I mean, as of now, as in Bihar, even in Karnataka, they seem to be prepared to get power by any means, which doesn't really inspire confidence.
Okay, let me come back to...
They seem to be opportunistic.
Let me come back to all of our panelists. Let's just stay with Bangalore and Karnataka for a while, and, you know, presumably all of you have a closer finger on the pulse of what's happening. So, Raghu, let me get you in on this point. Any lessons you want to derive from the exit polls other than saying let's wait for the 15th and see what's going to actually happen?
One of the interesting things that's happened with the exit polls is how the very narrow margin has actually shifted over the last couple of weeks. The first exit poll that I noticed was the C4 survey, which I think came out in late March, and it suggested that Congress was going to have a fairly easy run. and obviously that margin has narrowed and possibly reversed at the present moment. But no, it's very difficult to speculate at this point. The consensus seems to be that it is that the ball is up in the air, and it might involve the political kind of tactics post polls that determine who forms the government. And I think that the deep pockets of the ruling party, the national ruling party, are very likely to come into play here. We've seen anyone who's in Karnataka remembers very keenly how Operation Lotus played out. The BJP was extremely determined to form the government on that occasion, and not everyone was pleased with the kind of democratic ethics shown there. And we might well see a repeat of that if it's a close call.
Okay, Professor Trilochan Shastri, what do you make of the exit polls?
Well, I can only endorse what everybody is saying. It's not possible to predict what the exit polls say. I'll give you a couple of facts. We also did a bit of groundwork, and just as an anecdote, somebody said that he would vote for such and such a party. And they said, well, you belong to that caste. How are you saying you're going to vote for the other party? So then he called back after 5 hours and he says, well, there was a very powerful guy from the other party in the interview, so I didn't want to antagonize him, so I said that I'm going to vote for that party, but actually I'm going to vote for the other one. Point I'm trying to make is, in these exit polls, they are done as soon as people come out of the booth, and depending on what they think others might feel, they give some opinion on what they should vote for. The other interesting fact which I got was that a large number of young people, first-time voters, apparently have chosen the nota, none of the above. So how this final tally will play out is anybody's guess. I really don't know what to make of it.
Okay, so let me come to some broader themes. I think we've done enough speculation on these particular numbers, and frankly, they're not really shining too much light on what's likely to happen. So Mohandas Pai, let me come back to the point that you were making. You seem to be indicating Siddaramaiah has not been a particularly unpopular chief minister. There's not been a huge amount of anti-incumbency, may well have had the edge. You seem to be alluding to the fact that once again the BJP pulled out its trump card. It's like in a cricket match, you have one person who comes in invariably in the slog overs, hits 10 sixes, and then suddenly that's it, the game is over. You seem to be indicating that Narendra Modi has done that once again.
Well, I believe so, because I think I was very surprised at the response of people to Narendra Modi, what young people are talking about, what women are talking about. I cross-checked with people whom I know in the coastal districts. They're all gung-ho. And the coastal districts, the Tipu Jayanti and this Ringat issue has not gone well. Vikram, one of the things I'm very, very afraid of is the Hindu consolidation. People in the media in Delhi, people who write, and these leftists from JNU are abusing the Hindus, and young people are feeling very angry and upset. In the next election, they're going to be a larger part of the population, and you guys are in the echo chamber in Delhi, you don't understand what is happening on the country. Young people are proud of what they are, and if anybody goes after them, they're going to hit back, and if they come, they're the silent people. They don't talk to media. They are seceded from all the media. They don't see TV, don't see newspapers, they're on social media, and they're going to be a larger part. So I think we got to wait, because 73% is a very large number. And I don't know about the nota bit, because that's not what I've got. And we've done a fair amount of work in Bangalore with BPAC and others. We've gone around, spoken to a lot of people. We did surveys. So I think it's going to be close. But certainly the confidence in Modi is very, very high amongst people, despite what Congress want, despite everybody want, all the abuses that all these people give. Because people feel India has a strong leader who's doing good work, is honest, is not corrupt. Yes, there are some incidents. They're all blown out of proportions. Crimes have not gone up as a percentage compared to any other country in this country, but they're blown up. And every time they're blown up, people get very angry and upset. So I would wait and see what happens. Siddaramaiah has been a good chief minister, very good for the state. After a long time, we had a strong chief minister who did good work. He's responsive. I only wish, Siddaramaiah does well in the elections too, because he's a very good man for a long time, and he's been a great finance minister, a very good chief minister. And the Congress must be complimented for letting him be the czar for the state and not humiliate us by pushing things from Delhi as they normally do. And this change of effort for Congress is very good.
Okay, lots of points you made out there. Sagarika, two things he said. One, Narendra Modi did it again, is what he seems to be saying. And B, that there is a ideological echo chamber in Delhi which is disconnected from whatever is happening on the ground.
Because,
and that some of these factors actually resonate more than you might imagine.
Well, I was there in Karnataka when the campaign was going on, and originally, as Raghu also suggested, the BJP campaign looked confused, it looked directionless, it didn't have a narrative. It really looked as if the Congress was ahead, and the Congress was ahead. But then the Prime Minister landed, and the narrative, I have to say, shifted, because there were these high decibel rallies, the cadres were galvanized, and Mr. Modi's rallies are like rock concerts. So yes, he did manage to shift the narrative a bit. But my abiding impression of Karnataka, and I, just to point to what Mr. Mohandas Pai is saying about turnout, yes, turnout is 70% plus, but where is the turnout? We have to look at that also, because Bangalore had a very low turnout. It was in the rural areas that the turnout was very high. And as he's praising Mr. Siddaramaiah, I have to say Siddaramaiah is probably the last remaining Congress satrap after Amrinder Singh. He's rooted, he's built this backward
also a lesson
coalition.
there for the Congress party as to if they want to win elections, what they should be doing.
There is a regional model.
Leadership.
So, he's a Devraj Ars 2.0. So the fact is, at the end of the day, are we underestimating the Siddaramaiah factor? Are we looking at turnout only across Karnataka and not looking at the rural areas? And also, I just want to make one last point. Karnataka is a complete mirror cracked. Mumbai, Karnataka has different issues, different castes, different religions. Hyderabad, Karnataka, different issues, different communities. Coastal, communal, southern is Mysore, central, completely different issues. It's a mirror cracked. So
it's a patchwork, and there could be very different trends that are playing themselves.
There's no pan-Karnataka narrative.
Okay, yeah.
There's no
Let me complete the round then,
Quickly, I have a feeling that Mr. Siddaramaiah has sparked off two very important trends in Indian politics, since you're talking of larger issues. One is the return of the Congress to being a coalition of regional leaders, and the Congress in Karnataka has a distinctive regional face. It's not swamped by national leaders, which the BJP is. Secondly, what he has done is to spark off a chain reaction among states in South India, which are consolidating against the northern onslaught, and particularly against the kind of nation-state concept that the BJP is handing down to them, which is Hindutva. And we're going to see a further consolidation of South Indian states, and I think Mr. Siddaramaiah, with his not so desirable anti-Hindi stunt, has actually sparked it off.
He's raised the Karnataka flag,
very
he's taken away Hindi.
Okay, so let me just come to Raghu, you and Professor Tirochan Shastri, just want to turn to you on this. Two different ideas have come out there. Mohandas Pai, in a sense, saying Modi came in and did what Modi always does best. At the last minute, he came in, he galvanized the cadres, galvanized the BJP machinery, and hit a few sixes and won it for the BJP. The other view is that actually different dynamics are now starting to play out. So where there's a strong regional leader, maybe this doesn't actually work, and therefore Siddaramaiah may have done it. Your sense on both those thoughts?
I think it's interesting that we haven't really mentioned an important name so far in the program, which is the actual BJP candidate for Chief Minister. But I'll come back to that in a second. When I was, I think this, I'll hazard saying that this campaign may have also been a learning experience for the Prime Minister. When I was at his first rally in Bangalore, which was in early February, I got to witness something quite remarkable, which is that I saw thousands of people actually crushing and almost stampeding to leave the rally area while he was speaking. It wasn't because they weren't trying to signify something about him, but they were not interested in the fact that he was, presumably because he was speaking in Hindi and he was failing to make a connect with a large number of people who had actually been brought into his rally. And those were rural people. They were at the back of the rally area. Yeah. And I think it indicated something important. One of the things it indicated is that that this language issue was going to be very potent. And obviously, Mr. Modi made some efforts to sort of compensate for that. But I think that coming to Mr. Pai's comment, there is definitely a echo chamber in Delhi. There's also an echo chamber in urban areas in Karnataka and probably in Manipal. I think that more than half of Karnataka's population is employed in agriculture. And my guess is that they are going to be responding very positively to this current government's record in reaching out to farmers, especially to marginal farmers, but in fact to farmers of all kinds. And the Congress government has had a very sort of dynamic and a very effective agriculture minister in Krishna Bairegowda. We can come back to that.
Okay.
Vikram, I live in Bangalore and not Manipal. I think Raghu should correct this too. Okay, I speak to Bangaloreans. We have BPAC. We work with a lot of people, and Raghu is exactly the kind of person who's in echo chamber himself. So don't bring Manipal in, Raghu, please.
I think we can avoid
but urban areas in Karnataka.
No personal comments, please. No personal comments. I spoke about the Delhi echo chamber. You don't agree, that's fine. Don't bring Manipal into it. Don't make personal comments, please, Raghu. Otherwise, I will make personal comments about you. That won't be good for you.
Okay, can I just go to Professor Trilochan Shastri just to get his sense of the dynamics of what is happening? So we've heard various different dynamics, Professor Shastri, the Modi factor, the regional factor, Siddaramaiah as regional pride, the language issue, Amit Shah and Modi speaking, and the fact that they were speaking in Hindi and all those gaffes at the start of the whole issue, Siddaramaiah's determined efforts to raise regional issues. Your sense of how all of this is played out?
See, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm just pointing out one thing which maybe the other speakers somehow missed. The BJP has always been a largely urban party, and the Congress, for whatever it is worth, has been a rural party. If the voting percentages are much higher in the rural areas than in the urban areas, not that it will translate into more seats, but one will have to see how that plays out. The other thing is the policies of the current government regarding agriculture, the Rural Employment Guarantee Act, and other rural works, including, of course, the tokenism of the Indira Kitchen. I think this has had a positive impact on the people. Now, whether in the last 2 weeks people are going to change their mind because of Mr. Modi coming and having a whirlwind campaign, I really don't know. So it will really, we'll find out only on the 15th.
So let me just ask you, I'm going to come to some other factors also,
this is
divisive issues which have come up, caste factors that have come up. But Ejaz, I just wanted to ask you, for the BJP, looking ahead a little bit to what this implies for 2019, because that is, of course, an important question. That's why so much attention is being focused on Karnataka. Do you think the BJP pretty much says, look, this is going to be the game that we have to keep at it? Of course, the result will influence it. But at the end of the day, you have one big card to play, that's the Narendra Modi card, and that's what we're going to keep playing. So the Prime Minister essentially is going to have to be the main vote catcher, come what may, and then the machinery kicks in and gets galvanized.
Well, I think it's both together. The Prime Minister also feeds off the very efficient machinery that is built on the ground by the party president and various state units who work in tandem. So unless you have a strong base in your state and strong across, right from the panchayat level all to the taluk and to the district level in every parliamentary or assembly seat, then only can the Prime Minister get the kind of support to actually do something. Being behind the curve and then getting ahead of the curve is something the Prime Minister knows best, and his connect with the people, his communication skills with the people. But you need a base for that, and that the party provides.
Okay, Rajiv Gowda, if I could just get you in on that. At the end of the day, do you think the Congress will take any lessons from both the Punjab example and here? You need to get that local leadership, encourage them, and maybe that's the way to stop the Modi machine, is by, in a sense, encouraging or developing local factors. Maybe that's the only way you think you can stop Narendra Modi.
See, our Congress President Rahul Gandhi is very much a decentralizer. He will, hand over, ensure that our local and regional leaders are empowered and hold them accountable for their delivery and performance. So basically, strengthening and support our local leaders, regional leaders is certainly a factor and a pattern that you're going to see getting even more stronger going forward. In Karnataka, actually the challenge is for the BJP. If they actually had to bring in their Prime Minister and our Prime Minister and do whatever possible that he could do, and they embraced a whole series series of jailbirds and made them their leaders. And you know, so it's basically they've pulled out every hat, every rabbit out of that hat, and basically at the end of it, I actually think that they will cut a very sorry
The fact
figure.
that a political party will make, this is a complaint the Congress often makes, the fact that a political party will try to win elections or have a formidable election machine, that's not necessarily a negative. Now you can say, has the BJP lost something by getting in slightly tainted leaders, and does that have an impact in its long-term campaign? Now that's a different issue which we should throw to Ejaz, and Mohandas Pai, you may want to come in. The fact that to win this election, the BJP had to get in the Reddy brothers, get back Yediyurappa. There was a reason why all of that happened.
Well,
but next time you're out there saying, you know, we must fight against corruption and the Congress was right to be booted out in 2014 because of the corruption issue, some people may say, what did you do?
Well, it's very clear that we talk about Siddaramaiah. Obviously, he's a strong regional leader, the kinds of which the Congress hasn't seen for a long time, and I'm happy for them. But it's also important that Yediyurappa himself is also a very strong regional leader who's been a chief minister, lost out, and when he left the party and formed his own party, the BJP got decimated. And he's coming back into the party, and you get all the factions together, is causing a scenario.
Sagarika, you were saying that it hasn't. You don't think it really helped the BJP?
The fact is, if you look at the trends in the exit polls, Vikram, you know, in the beginning of the campaign, the BJP was a little bit of a write-off in Karnataka because it didn't. It was, as I said, the campaign was headless. Yediyurappa was seen as having seen better days. You know, all of that. But you know, the trends in the exit poll are showing that the BJP actually is not doing that badly. In 3 exit polls, the BJP is actually winning. This obviously means that the Yediyurappa factor has worked for the BJP. He's still a folk hero for the BJP. The Lingayat community, which was sought to be divided by Siddaramaiah by giving minority status, probably has stayed on with the BJP, and the BJP has done obviously well, according, if these exit polls are right, in its
It depends on which exit poll you're looking at.
I mean, but most of them are showing a strong showing by the BJP.
Yes, that's certainly the case. The BJP's had a strong
It's
showing.
showing a strong showing.
Every poll is showing a 100% rise from 40 to 80 plus.
It's
So
showing
that's
that they're
dramatic.
obviously holding in the heartland. They're holding in their strongholds, holding in coastal, and holding in Mumbai, Karnataka, which is their stronghold. But I do believe what we're constantly missing, and the X factor here is, as Professor Shastri was saying, where is the turnout? If the turnout is in the rural areas, then the various schemes that Siddaramaiah has come up with, the Anya Bhagya, the Krishi Bhagya, the Shira Bhagya, all of these schemes which I saw in Mumbai, Karnataka, the Anya Bhagya, the 7 kgs of rice being given free. Now, this is a huge welfare scheme for the poor. And I think we're looking at a very accomplished, rooted, powerful regional satrap in Mr. Siddaramaiah, who is difficult to defeat. Has the Modi magic been able to defeat Mr. Siddaramaiah? I mean, that remains to be seen.
Although the history of Karnataka is that anti-incumbency.
Is anti-incumbency. That's exactly what I was saying. History is against. But I just want to say one more point, is that this election is not a test for Narendra Modi as much as it is for Rahul Gandhi. Can Rahul Gandhi win an election? You know, moral victories can't be won every time. You can't keep saying this was a moral victory. There's no moral victory in Karnataka. You're the state government there. You have leaders there. You've been strong there. You've been there for decades. You have to win.
More at stake for Rahul Gandhi than for the BJP. Would you agree with that?
Probably, yes. I think so. But there is something very interesting that is happening, and we saw this in Gujarat and now Karnataka. The Hindutva monochromatic narrative can only be challenged by caste. You know, wherever you have caste, you have fractures in this united homogeneous, which is a colonial construct. I mean, there's no such thing as a homogeneous Hinduism. Now, even in Gujarat and in Karnataka, the leadership has played the caste card because they want to break the Hindutva, this kind of a model which is being imposed upon the people. So, it is an intelligent move to give Lingayats autonomy is to actually go back to the nature of Hinduism, which is completely decentered. It is not this monolith. We have no church, we have no one text, we have no priestly class.
But the Lingayats have not moved from the BJP, if the exit polls are right. If the exit polls
so
are right,
did it work or did it not work is another question. Mohandas Pai, can I come back to all the people in Karnataka there? Mohandas Pai, let me start off by asking you that question. So, in all of these efforts, you were talking about some of the divisive trends that seem to have been seen. So, Hindutva, Hindu consolidation, all of that is at one level. Caste consolidation, caste factors, regional factors, language factors. which of these eventually is going to triumph? Maybe it's not quite as simple as it seems. Things rarely are in India.
Well, I think in my mind, the two big things that really had an impact is the Lingayat issue. Obviously, the Lingayat committee has not been broken up. We can see the results. But it has polarized the other Hindus. The Hindus feel that they are under attack because they feel that somebody is trying to break up religion, and that's going against Siddaramaiah. That's why you've seen a weakening in the last 15, 16 days, and people are angry and upset. In the districts, again, I'm telling you, in the coastal district, Tipu Jayanti has not gone well, Vikram. The Konkani-speaking people, the Kodavas, and the Mysoreans, some of the Mysore Brahmins, some of the Mysoreans, and also the Roman Catholics are thinking very deeply about what that means. So I think Siddaramaiah shouldn't have done that because he's got a great track record. But on the caste issue, well, the more this JNU types, the more the media bashes up the Hindus like they did in the Kathua rape and says the Hindu nationalists, they're doing all that and make polarizing against the Muslims. The more and more the Hindus are going to come together. And for younger people, women and younger people, the caste issue does not play out so much. I think we're overestimating that.
I have a huge problem with that issue. I don't agree with that at all because as far as the...
Sagarika, you're not from here. Let me finish, please. You know, and also if you look at Bellary, I think the Reddy brothers definitely is a dent on the corruption issue with the BJP. But let's remember, Sri Ramulu has got a stranglehold on the tribal belt. And the Reddy brothers control Bellary. So there's a lot of votes, and the tribals seem to be going with Sri Ramulu in a very big way, and that's very, very surprising because not many of us knew of his impact on the tribal belt.
Okay.
A lot of young people, I mean, for Mr. Mohandas, to say young people are opposing, the media's view on Hinduism. I think that's wrong because I was in coastal Karnataka for a long time. And in coastal Karnataka,
the Kathua rape in any case was about a little thing more than an attack.
It was more than that. It was a crime against women. I don't think it's a crime against a little girl child. I don't think we should politicize this at all. But the fact is, young people across coastal Karnataka at least are extremely unhappy with the moral policing, the love jihad, the kind of attacks on pubs, the attacks on women wearing skirts, the attacks on couples. Couples going to the beach are asked their religion by the various Shiv Sena, the Durga Sena, Ram Sena, various Senas that are operating over there. So there is a strong revolt by the young people in coastal Karnataka against this kind of moral policing of these Senas and the pub attacks and attacks against women and attacks against couples, attacks against parties, and they are very anti.
All of these are theories at this stage, Sagarika. Mohandas' theory, this theory, we'll have to see what actually happens. But Trilochan Shastri, as somebody who spent a lot of time, as chairman of ADR, campaigning for cleanliness in politics, and we must try and clean up politics. I have to ask you a question. We've seen, yes, development is there and presumably people are voting for that. We are seeing all of the things that Mohandas Pai was saying that, Hindu consolidation, other stuff may happen. Caste factors, are they going to happen? Is corruption still a factor? So if getting back the Reddy brothers or anything does not seem to have made any difference, then is corruption an issue on which people are voting one way or the other? Or will they say everyone else does it? Look what we've been seeing the last few days. Cash is changing hands, liquor is coming in. Everyone is in some ways responsible, so let's not vote one way or the other on it.
Very good question. Actually, from a point of view of what is a proper civilized society, corruption has to be an issue. We have to get rid of it. Is it actually happening when people vote? The jury is out. I don't know what people exactly think of when they vote for. But this campaign, it is not about people's issues. It's a strategy campaign. Media splitting on caste, splitting on Hindutva, whatever it is. It's a strategy. It is not addressing the issues of the people. We did a massive survey in Karnataka, one of the largest ever done in Karnataka. The top two issues that people are asking for, they are saying we want water. In Kannada they say beer beda neeru beku, means I don't want beer, I want water, because there's a demand for prohibition. None of the parties are talking about water. People say we want jobs. No campaign talked about the fact that people want jobs. So the real issues that people are interested in are not being addressed in the campaigns, and that is very, very unfortunate. On the other hand, you have massive amounts of money, media management. Now we had the 10,000 voter IDs being lost somewhere. So every trick in the game is being used to somehow the other win elections. And I think this is very unfortunate and it is not good for democracy. And I feel the Election Commission may be not doing enough to curb this issue of black money and bribery in elections. We got to stop that if we need good democracy.
But Raghu, I'm going to throw that. I'm going to throw those points to everybody.
Campaign which has been entirely.
Raghu, so here would be the flip side to that. Now, if genuinely people, I mean, political parties want to win elections, and if they thought that jobs and water are going to win them elections, they would be raising those issues and they would be talking about it. So, rightly or wrongly, obviously, political parties seem to believe that other issues or freebie, whether it's freebies or whether it's divisive issues or caste or religion, all of this is a better path to get votes than to be trying to say, okay, we're going to solve the water problem. Would that be a cynical or an accurate thing to say?
I think that as we've approached the actual election, most of the parties have been using all the ammunition they've got. Let's not forget that Siddaramaya's been using the Mahadai issue to sort of criticize the central government, and that's a water issue as well as a sort of regional identity issue. But there is something to be said for not just focusing on what's raised in the course of campaigning, and it's easy for the media to pick up on identity politics and the sort of political tactics those are, but what voters also respond to, and there's a recent CSDS report that underscored this, voters do also respond to the track record of governance that goes on in between elections. Now, one of the remarkable things about the very narrow gap between the parties at this point is that it should have been a walkover for the BJP. It's almost an ironclad rule, anti-incumbency in Karnataka, and Siddaramaiah has also faced three continuous years of drought in the state. That should be an enormous setback for an incumbent government. But the political standing he has as voting day wraps up is quite remarkable from that perspective. He's in much better condition than he should be. And I think part of that speaks to the nature of his governance. There's been a lot of commentary about the Bhagya schemes and the kind of the safety net that they extended to vulnerable rural people in the course of these droughts. But there's also been other forms of fairly proactive, I think, rural governance. That is what's like.
Okay, Ajaz and Rajiv Gowda, I just want to come. Ajaz, do you think sometimes political parties say this, that look, actually, a lot of the politics that you're seeing is about other stuff. We are talking about water and development and schemes and the rest of it. The media and others, the headlines somehow tends to focus on the divisive bits and all that because they make better headlines. Is that accurate, you think? Or
it is very clear. I mean, the substantive issues are discussed on a daily basis, whether it's social scientists, Professor Shastri is here, professors out here. These are discussed with the academia, with students, with youngsters, and the NGOs.
No, is it a key part of the political campaign?
But it loses out. What sells much more is issues which resonate with specific blocks of people or interest groups. That is why it's always like Karnataka has the highest amount of semi-arid land, but nobody talks about it. The highest amount of ecological degradation, and highest amount of water bodies being lost, but there's no debate on that. So it's understandable that on both sides, ultimately the voter will decide, has my life improved in the last 5 years under the incumbent government, and that is the reason why they vote against.
But corruption is an equalizer, Vikram. As you know, there are, the Reddy brothers on the BJP side, there are equal number of tainted candidates on the Congress side.
Which is what I'm saying, maybe the voters aren't bothered, they're saying, no, they are all...
And also, as you travel around Karnataka, you find there's so many defectors. Congressmen have got BJP tickets, BJP people have got Congress tickets. So actually, it's all based on winnability. And the people with the criminal records actually are seen to be most winnable. So it's really, corruption is a non-issue on the ground.
And that sadly is true across the board. Rajiv Gowda, I just want to come to one final thing before we end this particular program. I just want to look ahead a little bit. Look, frankly, the exit polls are still saying it's a confused picture. It's very close. It may well end up being a hung assembly or a draw, if you like, one way or the other. And then you can say, Well, Siddaramaiah did well because he should have, there's anti-incumbency and he was able to fight it off. Others will say he should have had an easier run. After all, just 2 months ago, it was looking as though the BJP was being completely wiped out. We can start discussing that. I'm trying to figure out now what is at stake. If this is the semi-final or the quarter-final or the qualifier, whatever it is for 2019, what are the lessons we should drive from this? Rajiv Gowda, what do you think the lessons should be if it is a very close, muddled sort of a result?
First, I'm not expecting that muddled result. I'm expecting a decisive Congress victory, and that's based on calculations of seat by seat, based on the delivery of 8% plus annual growth, inclusive welfare programs that have eliminated hunger and are improving a variety of other human development
indicators.
The
election campaign's over, Rajiv. People have voted already.
The kinds of investments that have been done have been fantastic.
So,
so basically, there's 2019, boss. So basically, the point is that this is an indicator that the Modi magic is over and that Congress is in resurgent mode, that we will take Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh in the next round and build up that momentum to turn things around in 2019. So this is a very crucial state for the Congress, and I think it is going to repay our faith in the people and in our own performance and the fact that people want delivery.
Okay, so
and that's what the Congress
that's the
has
political. That's a correct political line from the Congress. Let me get the correct political line from the BJP.
Well, I think
unless you want to break away from it.
The elections are over. The elections are totally over. I mean, so there's no question of campaigning now. People have cast their vote. Who are they going to vote for to make their lives better? And that is exactly why governments are chosen and thrown out, and anti-incumbency and pro-incumbency plays a part. If you deliver properly, you'll get repeated. If you don't, you will be knocked out. So that's a reality one has to face.
Okay, so what that means for 2019. You said Congress is more at stake than the BJP. Why do you feel that?
Because I think it's a validation of Siddaramaiah's policy of redistribution.
No, from 2019. Hang on, for 2019, in the long term.
They will put forth a vision of a more inclusive and of a more inclusive society where plurality needs to be valued. I think
that they've always said that sometimes it gets beaten up.
No, but it is an interesting counterpart to the divisive policies. Even if the BJP wins, it's a Faustian bargain. You get the world and you sell your soul, or you sell India's soul. This has to be corrected. And when the media report they're going to win because they engaged in divisive policies, I'm always astonished. And there's no value.
No, but I do believe.
But hang on.
I do believe it's more of a test for Rahul Gandhi than it is for Modi. Look, Mr. Modi has proved his electioneering accomplishments. He's scored in Tripura. He's led his party to a huge victory in UP. He's succeeded. But for Rahul Gandhi, yeah, but there was a moral victory. But Rahul Gandhi has to now win. He has to show he can win. And that is what we need to look at.
It's not enough to just say, maybe I'm going to be Prime Minister.
And again, to say moral victory, or we're doing humanism, or we're doing pluralism. I mean, that's fine, but you have to be able to win. And the thing is that is going to be the test, because if the Congress doesn't win, not at any cost, but you have to be able to galvanize the machine. You see, the thing is that
in a democracy, your agenda has to resonate with the large section
at
of
the
people
end of the day,
and
if the Congress doesn't win, the third front will scatter away from it. And Mamata Banerjee,
people vote.
Other people will come up and okay. Let me come to all of you in Karnataka. Broader lessons from this for 2019. Mohandas Pai, why don't you go first? Broader lessons from this for 2019.
Vikram, the lessons are, to win in a state, you need a strong regional leader. We saw it happen in Punjab, we saw it happen in Karnataka. And somebody imposing somebody from outside is not going to work, because people want to see local leadership. Two, to win nationally, you require a strong national leader. Modi still rocks. Rahul is a weak product, despite what some people may say. He's not proven himself. He appears as very confused. And despite my liking for him as a youth icon, a large part of the youth don't seem to like him, don't look at him as an icon. And he's coming to 50, so we don't know whether he's youth or what it is. And he has to improve. The Congress doesn't have a national product. And the third important thing is, you need money for the national elections. Now, if the Congress were to lose Karnataka, they can kiss 2019 goodbye, because Karnataka is the only state that's giving money. In this state, in this election, a lot of money the Congress has raised by bribing and others corruption has been spent. In the last 90 days in Bangalore, real estate people told me that real estate projects have been cleared by committee, some 300 crores of bribes have been taken, money has been put into elections. So if Karnataka is lost, what happens to money for 2019? Punjab doesn't have money. So I think it's a major challenge. So this is most critical for the Congress to win. If it doesn't win, the money impact in 2019 is going to be enormous.
I think that's an interesting point, Professor Trilochan Shastri. Dachi, that's a really interesting point he's brought up, because 2019, a lot of money will be required. The Congress party already is saying that the coffers are starting to run dry. The BJP is sitting on a mountain of cash by all accounts. So is that going to therefore become a major factor?
Money is a factor. What I feel is, the campaigns are more or less the same old stories, fine-tuned for 21st century with media and social media and so on and so forth. I think we, like Sanat Jayasuriya changed the rules of batting in one-day cricket and suddenly, became a star. At least one of the parties will have to think afresh and communicate differently with the people and not go back to the same old hackneyed ways of campaigning. And I think young people particularly are interested in growth and development, and that message might be one of the tricks that the parties might have to use to recast their campaigns for 2019 and start now, so that it becomes a big issue during the 2019 elections. So
all right, I'm coming to the end of the program. Raghu Karnad, let me get you in.
Again and again.
Raghu Karnad, if the Congress loses Karnataka, it pretty much doesn't have any real method for raising cash for 2019. That's a reasonably realistic scenario that Mohandas Pai just spoke about.
Yes, I think people who are in Karnataka have been witness to the way Karnataka has been necessary, especially in the run-up to the election, to raising funds for the party. Apart from that, what the prospect of the JDS becoming the kingmaker, or potentially the king, on the 15th also seems to indicate that the Congress, even in a state where it has a very formidable regional leader and a chief minister, the Congress just cannot neglect maintaining very strong relations and planning along with other regional parties. That is obviously going to be key. If it's key in Karnataka, it's going to be key to the possibility of a Congress victory anywhere.
Okay, I have 1 minute 30 seconds to go. Enough time to get one word out of everybody. Exit polls still confused. Who do you think is winning on the 15th? Congress, BJP or Hung? Let me start off, Ejaz.
I will say the BJP
surprise,
is winning by the number of polls that is suggesting so.
Okay,
Yes.
BJP.
I still think
One
it's very
word.
close, but
One word.
I think the Congress has a slight edge.
Congress.
Congress has a slight.
Congress. Mohandas Pai.
No clear verdict.
Hung. Okay, Raghu Karnad.
Hung, very likely.
Hung. Rajiv Gowda.
You don't ask the question.
Congress, absolutely.
Surprise, surprise.
I was wondering why you're taking so long to decide on that, but okay, fine.
You have to think about that one.
Professor Trilochan Shastri. Who do you think is winning?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay.
I really don't know.
In many ways,
I don't know.
that perhaps is the most accurate way to sum up
Analysis
where
of the
we all
entire-
are
of all the polls.
today. After all the polls, after everything that's happened, 8 exit polls, or no, it's 10 exit polls by now. They're all confused. I think the correct way to answer, if somebody says who's winning in Karnataka, is to very simply say, I don't know. We can all have our guesses. It could be the BJP, it could be the Congress, it could be Hung, it could be any of those circumstances.
But not the JDS.
And we wouldn't entirely be surprised. Yes,
No,
if
but
the
that's
JDS...
not- I think
if
the JDS is the one that's definitely going to win.
JDS may still win with outside support, but the JDS crosses 100, I'll be surprised.
JDS as a party is definitely winning.
BSP.
Yes, so who knows what's going to happen. That's the honest answer right now. And that's all we have time for you for On the Big Fight this particular evening. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll be back next week.